Call the work session for July 13th to order. Welcome everyone that is here this evening. I'll let the minutes reflect that we have Councilwoman Metzler is out absent and will not be here with us this evening. And we'll move on with approval of the minutes. We have the June 8th, 2016 minutes before us, and would entertain a motion of approval for those minutes.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, the minutes will stand approved as written. Thank you, Lisa, as always. Monthly reports for June are all in and accounted for. Tonight we have no public hearings. We do have a number of guests, and we'll start with our first guest. We have a pair of doctors. We ask them to join us at the table, if you would, please. Welcome. And it's the chiropractic office at 2132 5 Mile Line Road. And then I'll ask Mr. Costello if you would just tee that up for the board.
Thank you, Tony. I recently had a chance to meet with Justine and John. They have recently moved into the office, which was previously, I think, a chiropractic office. And they had requested a streamlined process. As we always do, we bring them before the board so the board can meet them and get a feel for what you're trying to do. They have been in there for a while, and everything appears to be going fine. And I think you've actually got your sign up now. Everything's all set there. Why don't you just talk to the board a little bit about your day-to-day activities and what you do?
Well, chiropractors, treat musculoskeletal conditions, obviously people in pain, back pain, that sort of thing. It's nice we have elevator access if someone can't walk up the stairs or something like that. We're on the second floor. Pure outpatient facility, probably around 30 patients a week at this point. New business, kind of getting people going. 15-minute appointments on average. If someone's a little bit worse, it's a little bit longer. We don't have big wait times. We don't, people aren't waiting in the parking lot, that kind of thing. So it's going pretty good, Half business, half treatment at this point, trying to get some marketing done and all that kind of stuff. So.
And where do you ask them to park?
They park in the larger public lot there. Yeah, that's where everyone goes. They just go, because they've been coming there before, a lot of the patients.
Okay.
So they kind of know where to go. And
Has that been working out well for you and the others in the building?
Yeah.
No problems?
Yeah, because we don't really back up. We kind of get.
Yeah.
So, but it's been pretty good.
It's all appointment only anyways.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
There's always room.
Yeah.
Good.
That's good.
Square footage that you're occupying in the building, roughly?
425 square feet, small.
Yeah.
And typical hours of operation, Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday?
Monday to Friday.
Emergency?
Yeah, Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 6, and then Saturday by appointment only. Obviously Sunday if there's an emergency, we have an emergency contact as well. So.
Got it. So so Saturday, I'm sorry, just half days on Saturday?
Saturday's by appointment only. If someone
Okay.
really couldn't make it during the week, I'll come in on Saturday type of thing. So
Okay.
we leave it open. We don't set the hours, but we'll be there.
Is it just the two of you, or are there other
Just us.
employees? Okay.
Great. And signage, Jim, consistent with the previous sign?
Yes, the only signage they actually have is on the directory now, and that's been installed.
Just the directory sign?
Mhm.
And that's the only sign that you need or plan on having at this time?
Yep.
Okay. Very
Is that
good.
building at capacity now, or
No, I don't think
still
so.
vacancies now?
There's a few,
a few,
yeah.
yeah.
When we went in, a couple moved out, I think. So.
Got it.
Just
Okay.
curious.
Board questions, comments?
Oh, good luck.
Again,
Sounds
chiropractic office, going to chiropractic office.
Mhm.
Signage pretty consistent overall.
I think this clearly fits streamlining,
Okay.
Yes.
without a doubt, and appreciate them opening up a business in Penfield.
Thank you.
I'm sure you had your choice of many other locations, so
It's been a lot of work, yeah.
glad you chose the Four Corners.
Yes, good area.
Staff, anything that you believe should be part of the record that hasn't been entered into the record at this time?
No, I've been working with Justine so long now on this, I think that she's just addressed everything.
Ready to get out of here?
Yeah. Ready to start their second operation.
So you will follow up with a letter to memorialize this prior to the board and kind of summarize the discussion that we had, so they have that for their records. Okay? Any additional input for this board that you feel is pertinent or appropriate for this application?
I think we're good, unless you guys have any more questions? No?
No?
Okay.
We're good.
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot,
Appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you.
Good luck.
Move on to water for South Sudan, and that's at 1807 Penfield Road. Lynn, welcome.
Hi, Lynn. I did send you some materials, I think, on
Yeah.
this.
You did.
You sent the sign.
Right,
Yep.
It's their logo.
yeah.
So we did receive it. So if you want to just give it a little tee up,
Sure.
Kaz.
Lynn contacted me a while back indicating that she'd like to open the office at 1807. And the area, I can't remember what the prior use was in there.
Yeah, I don't know, I think it's been vacant for a while. It was an
It's been vacant
orthodontist
for a
a while ago, I don't
Yeah.
know if it was something after that.
In any event, she indicated to me that she'd like to open the office. There was an office there prior to, and again, we talked about the streamlined process. She was good enough to send off information regarding the signage, and the signage you're thinking of is going to take that boxed area below Mark Guerrero's sign that's
Right.
now.
Right.
And I believe it's 16 by 47, something like that, or close to it.
I think it would just be the one left, because there's one more vacant spot there. So wherever it says space available, that's the one we would
Mhm.
take over.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about what you do and what you're trying to accomplish?
Sure,
there?
happy to say. So we, Water for South Sudan, drills water wells in South Sudan and provides hygiene education. So this is our administrative office. Our operations are in South Sudan and Africa. We were founded by a lost boy of Sudan, Salva Dut, who actually lived in Penfield and was a Penfield Rotarian. We run the fundraising and office, and interfacing with the BARC board is all based here in Rochester. But we're a pretty quiet office, so we don't have drilling trucks coming in or anything.
Is this actually a streamlining application as well as the signage? Because it's an office moving into a bigger office?
I would consider it to be a streamlined process, yeah. There's really no change of use. It's basically office to office.
Right.
Right.
So how many people work?
So 2 full-time and 2 part-time.
On a day-to-day basis, how many people you might see there, or does anyone come to visit?
Barely anybody, no, we don't, it's just our staff,
Yeah.
yeah. Occasionally, we could have a committee meeting, and that would be in the evening, because most of our board members
Mhm.
work.
Okay. Board, you had an opportunity to take a look at the signage
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Fine.
any concerns or questions about that?
No, it was fine with me.
So, Lynn, the hours typically hours of
8
operation?
to 5, roughly.
And Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
Typically not weekends?
No, someone might pop in to do a little bit, but no.
Are you on, you're not on site yet, are you? Or are you?
We are,
You
yeah,
are?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just recently going.
Right, just end of June. Yep.
Yeah.
And square footage?
About 1,100.
A little bit bigger than the other.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Board members, other discussions, other comments?
No.
Okay, staff, anything?
My only comment is if board is comfortable, I'll work with Andy Savegas to make sure we get their sign permit in place, and
Okay.
I'll work with you to make sure that's
Great.
taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Definitely.
And then, Lynn, any additional information for us that you believe is pertinent to this particular application?
No, we're just thrilled to stay in Penfield, and we're honestly very happy to, even though we don't have incoming traffic, to have the sign, to have people driving by and just knowing that we exist, and that we're actually, we're pretty proud that we're from Rochester and Penfield. People just, people support us in all 50 states and 33 other countries, and it's, it's from Rochester, but it's really from Penfield, so we're very proud of that.
Great. Excellent.
That's great.
Very good. Kaz, you will again follow up with a letter documenting the discussion this evening and memorializing this so that we have that for the permanent record. All right.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, good night.
All right.
All right. The next item is discussion of improvements at T-Bone's Restaurant at 1778 Penfield Road. Anthony.
Oh, yeah. Good. Anthony and I spoke last week. He's indicated there are several modifications he'd like to make to the site. I thought it'd be good to meet with you about that. And then, based on your discussion with him, move forward on a process to determine what had to be done in terms of public hearings or permits. So why don't you give a brief discussion about what you want to do?
Okay, looking to have a permit approved for an additional deck seating area in the front of the house, joining in and connecting to the existing patio that's there. There were some drawings and designs brought to your attention years ago. These are modified, actually. It's a little bigger, better quality, I think, but it would fit in nice to the property. It would have an open roof, like an arbor trellis top, so sunlight could come through. So it is seasonal. There would be some lighting out there. And I gave Jim some information and some drawings and pictures and measurements of all the items that we were going to use to build this. And there'll be some new signage, a new parking lot. We're going to redo the whole parking lot, which is long overdue. We're going to put some new siding up on the house. We're going to really change the feel of it. So everything's going to be upgraded from exterior landscaping to the things I just mentioned, and we're going to touch a few things on the inside. No moving of walls, no changing or adding any additional space to the restaurant other than the deck that I'm seeking the permit for.
You talked a little bit about possibly a new fence between you and the neighbor to the east.
If that, yeah, if I can fit that into the budget, we wanted to update all the fencing, so all the wood that we are building with the deck, we wanted to fix all the wood and all the fencing around the property so it'll all age the same way. So it'll look nicer once it does age over time.
Do you want to talk about the change in name?
Yes, new theme, new menu, new vision, Bistro 1778, kitchen and cocktails. I just got an email from Mike at Clinton Signs. He just did give me the sign that I was seeking. It's actually the same size as the sign that's there, but it's circular. And it's 4 foot in diameter, but I do have all those measurements and the picture of this as an email that I can send to you if you'd like.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because the board was gracious enough to set a public hearing last week for you, as you know,
Yep.
for the first meeting in August. I did advertise that as a larger sign requirement in fear that you might have a larger sign that we'd have to wrestle with at the meeting, so
Same size,
that can be
just
addressed.
circular.
That'll be addressed as they go forward.
Okay. But I'll have some things on paper for you
Great.
then, so you can have those to look at.
Okay, so tonight is more information update as to what's being proposed. Public hearing scheduled for August 3rd, right? So we'll have that on August 3rd town board meeting for public hearing.
So it's a seasonal deck. How much seating is on the deck with the addition tables?
40 to 50 people, seats.
But it's seasonal.
Correct. Yeah, it's seasonal. And the existing patio, we actually are going to turn into, we're going to have less seating there, so it's a trade-off of what we're going to have there. The existing patio, we're going to turn into a conversation fire pit lounge area where it's more comfortable seating and parties of 6 and 8 that have a shared table. And so there'll be less seating there, but it'll be an invite to the area, and people, I think we will attract more people that way to want to relax and have comfortable things to sit on.
So how much seating was in there
40 right now.
right now? So it
Yeah.
really is a trade-off. and
Correct,
just-
it'll be about half as much, 25 seats total.
I guess the only other thing would be the, to Betty Perkins' house. Now, when it comes out, the deck comes out, there'll be some buffering because it'll be coming out more.
There's a front door to the property.
Yeah.
And the right side of the deck won't be past that door. So it's not even halfway across the front lawn.
All right. So it shouldn't impact her too much?
No, I don't think so at all.
And no music, right?
No, no music.
And the access will be from current patio area
Correct.
out, and no other access
Correct.
from the yard or from the...
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't walk up the steps.
Exactly, yeah, we're not gonna serve out the front door of the kitchen. We'll come straight out to the patio and then loop around.
We'll roll down the hill.
Okay.
And the hours it would go, they'll be
Same hours, dinner hours, 4:30 to 9 or 10.
Let's look at
Okay. Board, you got, some basics. Sounds like we got some information coming on signs that we'll have prior to the formal public hearing on the 3rd. And then any additional details that you have above and beyond what that you've submitted. If you have anything else, certainly pass those on to Jim so that he's got that and make that part of the overall record. So. Okay, board, other questions, comments, thoughts, or otherwise? Okay, staff, anything additional of the board that we should be aware of?
Not at this time.
Okay.
No, sir.
Anything else that, Anthony, we should be aware of prior to the
No,
August
just-
3rd meeting?
Thanks for taking me in so quick, I appreciate it. I know you pushed it in quick.
So, if, we go through the process, in early August, what is your timeline? In a perfect world, what is your timeline?
3rd week in September, maybe 1st week in October.
Got it.
Still want to try to fit the clam bake in.
Okay, so
That's the goal.
that's the goal, to tie it to the clam bake?
Exactly, and then that could be almost a grand opening party,
Got it.
if it's close.
Okay. Okay. Very good. We'll see you August 3rd.
Awesome, thank you.
All right, thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
your
Thanks.
time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that takes us down to our action items. Our first action item is Law and Finance. We have the Oak and Apple Cidery, and would entertain discussion around that.
Yeah, I think, Mr. Supervisor, I mean, over the last couple of weeks, we've all received a lot of information pertaining to this application, supportive of the application and also information not supportive of the application. Just recently, I was sent, some comments and some questions from a resident. It was brought to my attention that I think that we need to get some more answers to. So I feel that this, based on this new information that was given to us recently, there still needs to be a little bit more vetting of the overall project and some answers to these questions. Some of the questions, based on my reading, do require, some legal review by town council to clarify or to explain to me how the cidery does or does not violate the terms of the easement. When you take a look at, the history of the parcel and the documentation that's been provided to us as a town board, and you take a look at the conservation easement that was in place on the property, that may say one thing, the New York State Ags and Market Law may say something else. Sometimes I think there's some confusion over what says what and what doesn't say what. But regardless, I'd like to get our council's input on the new information that was presented to me, and I believe it was also presented to the rest of the town board members before I make any final decision whether to support or not to support the application, or whether my ability as a town board member to prevent this project from moving forward to the planning board is legally limited for us to do that. So with this in mind, I would like to offer to the board that we table for 2 more weeks so we can get the legislative, I'm sorry, not the legislative, but the legal counsel, input and response to some of these comments and questions. And if we can table it to 2 weeks from now to our next work session meeting, I would offer that up for the board's consideration tonight.
I would agree to that. I think that's a reasonable request. As Andy said, we did receive some information less than a day ago now with some follow-up questions that I do think the council should weigh in on. Unfortunately, they are not here this evening to join us, so I think it would be prudent for us to have them have some time to weigh in and then join us at our next work session for any other follow-up questions that we may have. So I would agree with that.
I agree.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Supervisor, I know this
it's
isn't
been-
regular, but I'm raising a point of order. Could the board please explain to us what these issues are? We've been kept in the dark, and this matter has been going on since March.
I will say you're out of order, sir. And I've got a motion on the table to table. I've got a second. There are 3 votes to table this matter, and therefore that will end the discussion for this evening on this matter. Let the minutes reflect that there are 3 votes to table. Move on to item number 2. This is the art stop sign proposal, 1822, 1826 Penfield Road. Mr. Pastel, if you would tee that up.
Thank you, Tony. Cindy Corrigan, as you know, recently purchased this Masonic Lodge. She's installed her business after you gave approval to open up an art shop and some other things associated with art. The last remaining component for her is to address the sign issue as to how she can do a signage for the site. She has submitted a plan for signage for the property. She did appear before the Historic Preservation Board last Thursday evening to go through the plan with the board. The board's response was that they like the signage as proposed. They understand that there's an issue of the number of signs that you have to review and address. Their comment basically is whatever the board approves in the number of signs they would support with a certificate of appropriateness. The only outstanding issue I think for them was, as we were going through the process, Cindy indicated that she's trying to wrestle with some of the signs. You can talk about it in more detail, about being raised a little bit off the building instead of just being a flat sign.
Similar to the Mark's Pizzeria sign. Part of it is a little raised off, and it's, cut out, so it's not just a square rectangle. So it has kind of a scalloped edge. And it wouldn't be raised a lot.
Right.
It would just be raised slightly. It would just add more interest to the sign.
And the board didn't have any problem with it. They just want to make sure whatever they're approving, they have a feel for what it is. And I think you're working on that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I think in talking today with you, you were looking to come up with a plan for one of the signs on the back.
On the back, yeah, she actually I printed out 8 copies. Again, it won't have the green in the middle of the P. We were originally going to have the same sign on the front and the back, but the back doesn't have the issue of trying to cover up the damage that was done from the Masonic logo coming down. So we really don't have to cover anything up. So my sign person, Tracy at Me and You, she said she had come up with the idea that we could possibly do the individual letters and the paintbrush of our logo on the back of the building.
Where would the 3 signs be located?
The one that I just handed out, that's the back of the building.
Okay.
So coming up 5 Mile Line Road.
On the north face.
Yep, and then the main sign would be where the Masonic logo was, so on that corner.
Right.
And the third sign was a hanging sign because you can't see the sign, our logo or our sign coming up Penfield Road, yeah.
You mean the old photography place?
Yeah, but
you're not using that portion.
right, we would move it down. We would
Talking
move the
something
hang-
perpendicular to the street.
Yeah,
So
so,
essentially, this sign that is currently out.
right,
and that
same
would be-
size,
Would be moved further to the west.
Right.
correct.
And then a new sign to identify any potential user of the
Yeah,
other
if
site
they
would
want
have
a
to have
hang
their own
sign.
sign.
Which I don't have a leasing at the moment. I do have somebody looking at it who he wouldn't actually want a sign if this is the person who ends up renting it. It's an artist who doesn't really want to do retail. He basically wants it as a studio, possibly, so.
Nice fit.
It is a good
Yeah,
fit, yeah.
it would be a really nice fit.
Okay.
What, Jim, can you remind me, what is the current ordinance for the 4 corners?
Well, the ordinance allows for, you're allowed to have 2 square feet for each linear foot of the frontage of the building. In her case, she has, actually I have it all written on Tony's packet that I have there. She's,
On my packet?
well,
Yeah.
APAC, that's it here.
This one?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Tony. So the front of the building, she's entitled to have, I think, a total of about 230 square feet based on the linear frontage of the building.
It's a big building,
It's a big building,
Yeah.
and
so it's different.
so right now, she's showing 3 signs. The biggest sign is the one where the old Masonic Lodge emblem was. That's at 25.66 square feet, I believe. It was 48 inches by 77 inches. the one in the back, which now looks like it's smaller than it was before, but the one you had before was about 8.94 square feet, if I'm not mistaken. And then the sign that you got out in front is another 8 point something. I've got them all written, 8.25 or something like that.
And one thing I'm investigating, and I would run it by the board first, is possibly, I'm getting pricing for possibly replacing the siding that was damaged, but I don't want to try to match the white because it's already a combination of vinyl and aluminum siding. So my thought was that to do it a completely different color, like a neutral gray or tan, so that we're not looking like we just missed the mark a little bit when we tried to replace the siding.
Got it. Got it.
She did talk to the board about that tonight, and the historic board would obviously have to review that as well.
Right.
Sure.
As well as you.
And the comment, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understood, the comment from the Historic Preservation Board about the signs were,
The two issues were, number one, the number of signs.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Yes.
And their comment was, we're looking at design, we're not looking at number. That's the town board's
Right.
perspective. The sign that she's looking at, there may
Right.
be some signs
Just
being
raised a
raised
little
above,
bit.
and they want to see how that looks.
okay, so they just want to, they just want to see how that is.
That's right.
Generally in favor of what is being proposed, but they just want to see what that final
Yes.
design looks like, if you will.
And you notice that she had picked two different colors. She had picked a green-based sign and then a gray-based sign. And I think you said you like the green-based sign.
Yeah, the other one is like a blue, like a muted blue or a
Yeah.
muted green.
Yeah, and the board agreed with her. They like the green too.
Yeah.
Over the blue.
Well, it looks a little more historic. There's something about that, the green, kind of, with all the beige around there too. It all comes
Right.
together. Yeah.
Right, yeah, eventually I'll have to pick a new trim color. The black has to go.
Do you have, are there any external lights mounted, like goose head lamps or anything for the signs? Do you have any plans for?
That's a good question. I don't think there was a light fixture on
There's-
there.
Doesn't look like.
There's nothing at this point in time, but certainly if you want to do something like gooseneck lighting, that would be probably a good thing to do. for
Yeah,
evening
on the
lighting.
main sign, yeah.
Yeah, at least the main sign.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have any problem with the signs.
I think it looks nice.
I think all the stuff in the
Tempting.
windows look good too.
Yeah.
My daughter reminds me every time we drive by. So it's only a matter of time.
You should hear the campers upstairs.
Yeah.
We started our big fat messy art camp this week.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Did ya?
big hall room, we got two big bouncy balls and the kids during their break, you hear them running around.
So you're downstairs and
Like,
Yeah.
they're having a good
Oh,
time.
How's the parking been for you? Pretty okay?
It's been great, yeah. Because really, generally in the store, we have like a few people come through at a time. And the campers, they just drop off and then they leave. So we haven't had any problems with parking.
Oh, that's good.
Good stuff.
And just confirming the dates here, so just bear with me if you will. I just read a notice from the Penfield Fire Company that they are going to close the municipal parking lot from Friday the 22nd until Sunday the 24th of July, because they're going to recoat the driveway and then restripe the driveway. So just as a courtesy, FYI, I also requested that they get the information out to the business folks as well, so you'll see that. But just as
That'd
a
be
heads
great,
up.
yeah. I'll post that to my
Okay.
customers.
But from the Friday the 22nd to Sunday the 24th.
Okay.
So just
Yeah, and a lot of people have been taking advantage of the fact that you can just pull right up front too. And,
Sure.
come in, so.
Sure.
It's just an issue, I feel like when it's, rush hour time, getting in and out of your vehicle there can be a
You'd
little
rather do 5 miles.
dicey. So, yeah.
Okay.
So to follow up, I think now, because you've submitted the new plan for the back, the historic board has to look at that
Yeah.
and then also decide what you want to do with the raised versus flat.
Yeah, how do I give them an image of,
Well, the studio who's gonna, or the company's gonna be doing the signage for you should be able to give like specifications as to how it looks.
oh, so you just need to know the dimensions of how
Yes.
much it's raised? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they can draw a side view of it from
yeah.
a perspective.
Yeah, it won't be raised that
Yeah.
much. It'd be similar to the Mark's Pizzeria site.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you planning on doing the siding at the same time? Was that?
Yeah, if like I said, I'm getting quotes on that
Right.
and seeing, you know, how much that would be. So I would want to do the siding before I put up the
Right.
sign naturally, so I would have to run that by
Wow,
you.
that'll change the whole look there.
So
Yeah.
the other part of that is, we've got to get that into the Historic Preservation Board as well.
Yeah,
So we'll do it
yeah.
all at one time.
Yeah,
get it-
and what I'll do is I'll try to match their swatch as close as possible and do something in Photoshop to show what it would look like, so.
That'd be great.
All right,
All right.
Great, thank you.
all right, good.
Okay, board, are there any other questions, comments? Staff, any additional
Yes, Tony,
information?
one last comment. If you
Thank you.
could do me a favor, whoever designed it for you, could they get the dimensions for me?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I,
It's fine that you showed it the way it is tonight, but I do need the dimensions.
yeah, I understand.
Great. Okay.
Great. Any additional input for us that you'd like to have as part of the record?
No, I'll get you the other information as soon as I can. I definitely want to get the sign up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, good,
All right.
great, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our next item, which is a review of mixed-use district draft scoping outline, and we've got Mr. Valentine, we've got Mr.,
I'll defer to Mr. Nursinger on this
wow,
one.
wow, 2 nights in a row there, Mr. Nursinger, so, wow, you're fitting right into this illustrious group, so
Saving me a chair now.
we got you a chair. All right, you're up, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Last spoke a couple months ago about there are packets being handed out. The packet involves some recent documents that were emailed today regarding the lead agency status of the mixed-use zoning district project. It would be a type 1 action, as we discussed in previous meetings, and we've been working with MRB and within town staff to review the secret process and start getting things prepared for the board. Just as a recap, the action before the board that they're considering is for rezoning the land, amending the town ordinance for the new mixed-use district, as well as the zoning map. As a type 1 action, that's a coordinated review. We have the town board would be listed as an involved agency, as well as the Genesee Transportation Council. They did provide the funding for most of this project and therefore are an involved agency, which brought it to the coordinated review. We sent out a letter to the Genesee Transportation Council about lead agency status. Received a letter back today from them acknowledging that they are an involved agency. However, they have no issue with the town board being the lead agent for all the proposed actions. So you have a copy of the letter that was sent to them, the letter that was received today from them regarding the lead agency status.
So it's sent today and received today.
We were quick.
Pretty good.
We were quick.
It's a formality of getting the letter out, just to get something documented in writing.
Yeah,
We'd had the conversations, but just to get it formally submitted, they said, give us something formal, and they got something right back, so they were quite efficient in their response.
Working very closely with us on this project, and it's very helpful as well having them there to assist us with it. Forgive me if I missed something. We have those 2 items there, as well as
Adoption of the manual.
I'm sorry?
The adoption of the manual.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, one part I missed during my synopsis was the adoption of the mixed-use manual that's been provided to the board back in September, and has been available for review to the public since then. So tonight, the board would have the ability to take lead agency if it feels comfortable to do so regarding the actions before it for the rezoning and creation of the district.
There's a revised schedule if you kind of want to go through it based on receiving the GTC's.
Okay. Thank you. What Sean has just provided me was an updated schedule to the secret timeline. There was one previously handed out. We have a new one that we can, we'll clean this up and get it out to the board tomorrow or Friday or later this week, so you have it for your files. Just to go over what would happen. At this meeting here, we have the review of this, a review of the scoping document that's been provided to the board. The scoping document is the next step after that would go along with the lead agency type 1 status before we get into a generic impact statement. That document's here in its final draft form for the board to consider as well.
And I'm assuming Mr. Horowitz has had an opportunity to at least see it, or will have an opportunity to see it?
Correct.
Great, okay.
Losing my track, thank you. So along with lead agency, the scoping document, there's also the item of a positive declaration for this project as well, for determinative significance. The board has that opportunity as well to decide on that tonight under lead agency.
And then after this, so if we do this, then what's the next step?
So the board takes lead agency tonight and declares a pos dec. You can...
We do a resolution.
We would do a resolution.
Just do a resolution next week.
It would be a resolution next week, passing all those actions, along with putting the scoping document out for public comment for a 30, 45-day period, whatever the board feels is appropriate, to gather comments so that we can provide responses to those comments, to the substantial comments that are received.
All right.
And then after that scoping document is complete, the scoping session closes, we would look to begin the preparation of the generic impact statement.
So it's a whole month. So August would be the next.
Yeah, the scoping session would be at least 30 days.
Yeah.
If the board is
But
supportive
the resolution
of putting
date
this
would start
document out
that.
there, start the public comment period on at least the scoping part of it. You'd have a final scoping outline, and then that would be the genesis for beginning the DEIS and beginning to answer those questions. We're working with MRB as well as staff has kind of generated that scope just to kind of give a straw man or something to start with, and then obviously the public will share their comments as well. And as Zach had said, those come back to this board, we'll bring all the comments back. The board will go through those, determine which comments are deemed significant or substantive, and then those would be incorporated into that scoping outline if they needed to be added.
Okay, all right. Board, discussion. So there's a couple of action items here on the table before you. First and foremost, are you willing to accept lead agency on this particular matter?
Yep.
Okay. And to declare a pause declaration for this, and then to authorize our planning team to put a resolution in for July 20th, so that we can start the review process for the scoping outline. Okay. And is there a preference timeline for that scoping, 30, 45 days? So as you're thinking about that, Mr. Horowitz, provide any thoughts or recommendations on his end for length of time from a scoping standpoint?
Sean, correct me if I'm wrong, I think 30 is the minimum amount under
seeker.
Under seeker,
yeah.
it's 30 days, so that would be the minimum amount of time for it. I don't think Mr. Horowitz has given us
anything
direction.
Otherwise?
Either
Okay.
direction, we can verify with him on Friday.
So
he's got
the
it.
board is comfortable with pursuing a 30-day?
Sure.
Unless otherwise, countered with Mr. Horowitz's thoughts or comments? Okay, all right. All right, so Sean, Zach, Mark, anything additional that the board should be aware of, or actions the board needs to take care of this evening?
I think the only thing, just to clarify for the public, the 30-day isn't the maximum time frame to comment on the entire secret part. It's just to establish the outline portion of it. Once the outline is accepted and the board goes through those comments, accepts that scoping outline, then it would create the GEIS, and there'd be more time for public comment. So it sounds like it's a short period of time, but that's just to establish kind of the outline of what's to be discussed. So I just want to kind of clarify that for the public if there is concern about the short time frame for that.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
And we'll get the outline cleaned up with now some revised information and dates on that. Get that reissued to the board so they have it.
We can do that tomorrow morning.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you. Looks like you have something else you want to offer there, Mr. Nursinger?
No, just
All
a
right.
thanks for having us again.
All right, you're completely welcome. All right, board, anything else
Same time,
for the
same-
team? Our consultants and our planning team? All right, team, anything above and beyond that we
Well,
haven't?
I just, out of curiosity, sorry,
Yep.
Tony, just out of curiosity, I'm looking at the list of interested agencies, and I see some municipalities that surprised me on that list. So I was just curious, what kind of solicitation or outreach do we actually require or do, or, you know, of them, and then what kind of input, if any, do they provide back to us?
Typically, not much. That's the same list we use for the comprehensive plan, so just trying to be broad and open. Comprehensive plan, you're looking at the whole entire town, so you're touching all the communities around you.
Yeah, because I just saw a few
So
that.
just doing the due diligence of touching the surrounding areas through the, abundance of conservatism on it, we said, hey, that list worked for the comp plan, let's do something similar. So we would send it to them as a courtesy. They have the opportunity to offer up a comment. Typically, they don't, but they would have the opportunity to provide that. We've provided it to the county through 239M review as well. So, they're copied as well, and they send to their own group of people. So just to make sure that it's been widely dispersed and open government, that we're sharing it with everybody and offering it up for comment.
All right, very good, thank you.
All right.
The document will be on our website, and it will also go to the environmental notice bulletin.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
All right, anything else, board or staff? Okay, great, thank you. The process continues to move forward. Thanks for the efforts. We appreciate that. So this is the next step in the ongoing process. So
Thank you, members of the board.
thank you for everyone. Sean, thank you for being here and updating us, and look forward to the update of the schedule. So thank you. Okay, very good. That takes us to review, or the review of the Jeremiah's Tavern sign. And by way of a little bit of history, and I'll let Jim finish teeing that up, that has been out there for now some number of months. And as I said to Jim, it was some back and forth, but it was never finalized or memorialized. And so I asked him to bring that to the board. So with that, Jim, any additional thoughts, comments, or input for the board?
Just FYI, and I know that you were going back and forth on it with comments back to me, so I appreciated that. Just so that you know, the sign is going to be a total of 69.16 square feet. That's both the Jeremiah's and the Tavern portion added. They currently have a sign out there which is probably about 20 square feet or 24 square feet, which you barely can read. This sign is, as you know, when I sent the material to you, it is a backlit LED lighted sign, which will go off probably as they close the shop down on a nightly basis. So they make more than meet
It's facing Target.
It is, it's facing north,
facing
you're
north.
right. They are permitted to have a total of 204 square feet of signage, so they're well under what they're entitled to. So, as Tony stated, we want to memorialize this, so we have it for the record, and Andy Sevegas will appreciate that as he goes to issue the permit. So,
I'm for it.
that's from
Yeah, I'm
Problem
good.
with
We,
that.
Jim sent it over
Neighbors.
to us.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the sign.
Okay. Anything additional, just, again, it's been around the horn for a couple of months, but I just want to make sure that that loop is complete. Anything additional that you would like to at least add to the record that you feel is appropriate
No,
or
we just
necessary?
need them to get their permits before we allow them to install the sign, so
Okay.
go through that process with them.
And again, you'll follow up with the appropriate documentation
Yes,
and
sir.
letter indicating the discussion and the direction from the board.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. All's good on that board?
Yep.
All right. We will now move to action items, Public Works, and we'll jump back to Mr. Valentine for award bid of sidewalk projects.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. We went out to bid on July 1st for our sidewalk program. We've talked several times with the board about the sidewalk projects for the year. So we decided to go out for bids for the sidewalks with it. We received 3 bidders at that time, and Hines Concrete was the low bidder at that. At the time, we accepted those. We've talked with Hines. Hines is standing by their quote and their price, and just coming before the board is whether the board is ready to award that to them, and we'll prepare a resolution to award them the contract for the 2016 sidewalk bids, and then work with them to schedule the projects and get them started.
Have we used them before?
They've done gutters all over town, so they've done other concrete work. This would be the first time in my term that they've done sidewalks for us. They've done sidewalks in many other locations, other communities. First time they've done sidewalks for us, but they're the typical group that does gutters in most communities, so they're a known entity.
And no problems
No.
in the past? Okay.
No issues.
Sure.
Okay, we have, by way of, information, we have used Sunshine in the past, and they had done some work for us in the past and were on the county bid. However, Hines meets all the specifications or exceeds, and certainly have a track record of being, very good in that concrete business, as Mark has attested to, not only within Penfield, but other areas across the county. And meeting all specs and being the lowest bid, your recommendation is to award the contract and turn them loose probably in the early August, mid-August
I think they
timeframe.
said mid-August was kind of what they were looking at. I know they're doing some other gutter work for us prior to that, so hopefully we can get on their schedule and get new sidewalks as well as several repairs around the community.
It's probably going to rain the entire month of August.
It probably will. At least I'll guarantee the community some rain.
Please don't say that. Please don't say that. We need some rain, but maybe nights, no weekends, no during the day, Monday
Once the
through
concrete is
Friday.
set, it can rain.
Yeah, but let's just keep it to 6 p.m. to 4 a.m. or something, so, okay, great. Thank you, Mark, thank you for that. And this will help us. So I think I'd like to just take a quick 30 seconds and just remind the board what we're going to be concentrating on, what Hines will be concentrating on this year, so that they'll see the activities that'll be going on.
Yep. The 3 major locations we have is Empire Boulevard, from going from Abraham Lincoln Park down towards the South Point Cove Apartments. That was something we got a CDBG grant for. It's a community development block grant. So we have funding to help subsidize that piece. That would help to fill that gap in. We have another grant for the lower portion. We're still working with the state DOT on that piece, so that appears that will be in the next year's contract to go from South Point down to LaSalle's Landing Park. So that'll be in the next go-around as we work through our permits with the state. We'll also be working on Route 250, going from the gymnastics facility almost across from Pembroke north, and kind of see some work the developer is required to do near Timber Glen from Wayland Road to the south to the Filkins property. The piece we just had bought there, so we'll pick it up and take it from Filkins south. The developer will do the piece north, so between the 2 entities, we'll get from Wayland all the way down and complete that block and connect down to 441. And
Is that going to be just a standard sidewalk?
Yes.
Because the area that's flattened right now is like 2x that.
It is.
So
I mean, it's just to
to
kind of level out a pad in there, just to make, because it is a drop off on either side. Wanted to make sure we had enough level area that, if a kid went off the side, they didn't end up in that, they get a little wet in the drainage ditch. So we tried to kind of level that out. The highway department had some extra millings and generated in a recent project, so that was a great opportunity for us to use some of those millings and have a spot to place those, so that helped to level that out in that area. And then the other one is on Atlantic Avenue, as we try to complete the block or get closer to the block between Baird Road going west towards 5 Mile Line. We have the new development that's currently ongoing. They're actually working on some of the dozer grading out for their portion of the sidewalks today. We're extending a piece west, so as we kind of work together, working to close in that block. And then depending on where we get with the state DOT is the sidewalks up near Hidden Hollow up to the YMCA traffic light. So the YMCA installed the traffic light, has the ped indicators. We had some contributions from the YMCA towards that. That's still pending where we end up with the state DOT approvals on that. So that's still in the works, but at least we got those other 3 major spots, as well as several repairs around the community. Look to go back and replace sections or heaved pieces or stuff that's been damaged. So we'll look to do those at the same time.
So don't be surprised if you see the highway guys pop out flags, and then Heinz come in and just pour the concrete, and then potentially highway coming back or DPW coming back and grading and seeding. So if you take a look at the breakout here,
That's
there's
what
that
I'm
flexibility.
Kind of try to break
Be
it
able to
down,
do that.
itemize it here and there, so as we have the DPW's availability, if they have time, that can save us cost to have them pop sections out and then use Heinz for what they do best, is pouring and doing the flat work and
Concrete and doing that, so.
with that. So.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. Questions for Mark on the sidewalks? So that's a flurry of activity we'll start to see come August through, September, surely October, again, depending upon weather and a few other things. All right, very good. We'll move on to our second action under Public Works, and that's 1429 Shoecraft Road for a sidewalk waiver.
Yes.
Mr. Valentine.
I have that reference on the map up above, and I don't have an aerial, but I do have the sidewalk map if it's a good reference. Shoecraft Road running north-south, Garden Hill Lane running east-west. Before the Planning Board and the Zoning Board, there's an existing home on the property. The Planning Board recently approved 2 new homes to go with that. So it would be a 3-lot subdivision on the corner. Plank Road is to the north. They're in asking for a sidewalk waiver. PRC has talked about it and discussed it. PRC is supportive of the waiver. There's no other sidewalks in the area currently, or nothing on Shoecraft south of Plank or east of 5 Mile. We reviewed the application. They came in with Crown Point, and Crown Point section 2B is currently or is going to be pending before the Planning Board in August. The sidewalks will be extended up to Shoecraft, but there's a piece that they have at the corner that was previously given a sidewalk waiver by this board for the piece that comes south on Shoecraft. So we kind of see if that was a linkage there, and I have kind of the overall
Yeah. Just so
sidewalk
that,
map, if that's helpful.
just so we see.
See how those sections tie
Yeah,
together.
thank you, Mark.
So it puts us on Shoecraft. Here's Garden Hill. This is the little piece parcel at the corner. So this piece, sidewalk, needs to go in, and then it would come all the way across here with the developer of Crown Point and their piece. There's a piece they have on Shoecraft Road that was previously given a waiver in this section here. So currently there's no sidewalks or anything else in that area. So PRC was supportive of this time, take the sidewalk easements and then take a waiver fee that would help supplement the overall sidewalk budget and make other further connections.
Is this the new waiver fee, or are we operating under that yet?
It has not gone to public hearing yet,
Okay.
so therefore this board has not adopted it. I'm still working on crafting that. We were kind of waiting. Typically, another board doesn't like to do major changes or hearings during the summertime, is cognizant of people being on vacation. So we're kind of targeting the September timeframe to have the public hearing, and where if it's best to have the public hearing on the revised sidewalk policy. So this one's currently pending, I believe, would be under the existing sidewalk policy unless the board chose differently.
Okay.
Board accept the recommendations of PRC,
Yes.
and certainly we do that under the umbrella of the current practice or policy that we have in place. So that'll be an easement, and it'll be $500
Per lot.
Per lot.
So
Thank you.
it's
Yes.
3 lots, so it'd be
So it'll be
$1,500.
$1,500 for that. Okay, very
I will
good.
Send the letter.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you again for that. All right, this brings us to request for sidewalk waiver under Public Works action for Barclay Park subdivision, and we'll bounce across the table to Mr. Costello.
Thank you, Tony. Actually, I think there's an extra one there for him. Keep one for yourself. There you go. We are at Barclay Park, and we are also at the Abington Place. We've met with Rudy Neufeld on a couple of occasions. PRC has looked at Barclay Park. Barclay Park, as you remember, is a private drive, so there's no sidewalks being installed within the private drive itself. The PRC is recommending, if you look at the first major map there, I've marked in yellow a proposed sidewalk from the proposed roadway southward to the property line of Barclay Park, and then again further south to property that we actually own now that was dedicated to us as a condition of site plan approval by the town board to allow for some work within the right-of-way there if we were ever to do anything in terms of an intersection improvement. The PRC is recommending to the town board that Mr. Neufeld install a sidewalk along the south side of the project down to Abington Place to allow the people at Barclay, if they'd like to take a walk in the evening, to be able to walk through Abington Place and then back up. The second map is important. This is why it's kind of taking us so long to get this to you. Again, you see that one portion that we own that I've marked in yellow. At the time that Section 1 was approved, the site plan showed sidewalks to be installed in the yellow area on the south side of the road to tie into the sidewalks that are currently being installed. And you can see the little circle over there on the map that Mark put up a few minutes ago. Those sidewalks are all installed, but there is that one gap that has not been installed. And I think it happened because we were in the process of a transition with the town engineer, and that portion never got to the town board for either a request for waiver or for installation. We have met with Mr. Neufeld. He's more than willing to put that sidewalk in as part of this process. So,
So the second, what you just talked about, Jim, was the internal
yes,
south side
yep,
out to 250?
that will tie into the existing internal that's being constructed now.
He thought he had a waiver, but we've not found a documentation that a waiver was granted by this board, so he's understood that he's to install that piece.
Yes, his staff couldn't find it, but we couldn't find it. So,
And so I would expect that those will go in.
and then for the front page, I showed an aerial for you. The orange marking is the Penfield-Webster town line. Everything north of this area has no sidewalks, and there are no sidewalks going into Webster. At some point in time, it might be nice to have sidewalks tied into the Cranberry Estates subdivision, which is north of this. As you can see, though, there's a very large parcel between Barclay and the pond at Cranberry. There's a single-family residence on it now, and it doesn't appear that there's going to be any intent to subdivide that at any time in the future. So, although it's in Penfield, I don't see us doing anything other than probably installing a sidewalk there at some point in time. But certainly that's not high on the priority listing for sidewalks in Penfield. So,
Where is that, Jim?
it's this parcel right here, this
And
rectangular portion.
There are no sidewalks in
1209.
front of
Yeah.
Cranberry, and I know it's quite a ways to get into even the village of Webster before there were
Right.
sidewalks in that area, but
And remind me again, is there a pedestrian access or sort of path between?
Abington and
And
Cranberry Cove.
Yeah, there is,
Yes.
and that is
Okay.
constructed now.
Okay, I
It's all
thought
tied
that,
in. Yep.
and that was part of PRC's thought, was these neighbors could walk into Abington,
Right.
walk around Abington, they could connect through into Cranberry
connect.
Cove, and then have some
I,
pedestrian linkages to tie those together.
Rob, this is it right here, as a matter of fact.
right, I can see, I can see it very,
Yeah.
Secret sidewalk?
I'm not,
It does tie Cranberry Cove into this project.
can you walk me through PRC's rationale again on the small sidewalk there in the middle of nowhere on 250? That, I mean, right here, I mean, what's the total, I mean, that is so out of place.
Well, the intent is to get people from Barclay safely to Abington, so they can walk Abington.
So
Yeah,
so
but-
1213 is...
But
But it's all connected to
Just connect those two
subdivisions.
neighborhoods together.
It's not like it's connecting people to walk down the street
Right.
from, I don't know,
Is there no other place where Rudy could find an internal access point between the two properties? I just find it hard to believe, I mean, it's gonna be a private drive, it's a buyer beware. I'm not entirely sure where putting 400 feet of sidewalk, literally nowhere near any other sidewalk, makes the most sense.
Well, you'd actually ask that question at the public hearing. Remember you asking, is there a way that you can run it through the properties? His comment to you
You
was,
should be able
I
to-
can do it internally to Barclay, but I can't do it any longer to Abington, because those houses are all built now, and they weren't going to be able to give up any land to run that sidewalk through their property. that, you did ask that question, and you were the one that did. I remember very, very
Well,
distinctly.
that makes sense, because I still find it hard to believe
Yeah.
that we would be looking at.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, there are no other sidewalks in the area, but in this particular case, you do have people isolated at Barclay, and it would be nice for them to be able to take a walk safely
If you
down
guys
to
how
Abington.
it's
so
when
get
it's
'em-
built, to
get 'em
make
to
it
walk
look like it's
250 and then-
definitely for that subdivision.
Well, let me ask another
you know?
question then. Does it have to look like a standard sidewalk? Can it look, I mean, no, what I
No.
ask is, I mean, if the town owns a portion of this land and he owns the rest, is there a way to make it look like a little bit of a path as opposed to?
It's so funny you say that. We're
Reason.
laughing because when we met with Rudy this morning, that's exactly what he was recommending, was to bring in something that didn't look as traditional as this concrete sidewalk.
There you go.
Our only comment was, Rudy was under the impression he was going to maintain it as part of his association. It's in the right of way,
So it's
and
gotta
we
be-
would be responsible for maintaining it. It just depends on what your level of comfort is.
But we have standards, we can't
We have a
just put
specification
little
for
paths.
sidewalks,
We
that's
can't-
right.
I mean,
But-
he was
but
talking a mulch path
I was just
or
wondering if-
rubberized trail or
Yeah.
something, but we were just looking at it as far as maintenance, if we ever did have to plow it years from now,
Because
just
there's
making
some
sure
sort of,
that.
So we're going to have to replace it.
I don't know, some kind of gardening, some kind of way to make it look like it's definitely part of that area. It's the
I mean, I think you can,
Rootfelds thing.
I
It's
think you
not-
can landscape it in or tie it in between the
Just make it
neighborhoods
look a little more
to.
personal to that area, so it doesn't stand out as this little piece of sidewalk to nowhere, because it really does go somewhere. It connects those people.
Well, let me ask you this question.
I'm not
I mean,
walking.
we're not married to this tonight. I mean, if you want us to look at alternatives, we'll
Yeah, I
certainly
mean,
do
I'd
that.
like
He's
to-
willing to do it.
Yeah, I'd like to see, I mean, we have had sidewalk conversations now over the last several months, and, I mean, we looked at this map 2 or 3 months in a row, and it's just, I can't believe that we would want to put, I don't even know what it is, 200 feet, 300 feet
That's more than that, yeah.
of town sidewalk that is so far removed from anything else for the sole purpose of a private drive being able to access some other neighborhood. That, to me, doesn't seem like it's in keeping with what a sidewalk is. I mean, if they want to, if the private development wants to move in there, then, I mean, it should be a buyer beware situation. And, you know, if they wanted to leave and walk down 250, they can do that. I just don't know where.
On the shoulder.
Right, I mean,
Well, one of the things I'm thinking of, if we move the sidewalk off of the right-of-way and put it on the pond area where the association is, then they could take care of it themselves.
There you go.
And they could put any materials in
It's
that
your
they
path.
think are appropriate.
right.
My thinking is, you know, you gotta make sure about ADA requirements and all that kind of thing too, but certainly I think we could work with them to come up with an answer.
I would like to see it.
The issue is it gets back to that property that we own now,
Uh-huh.
that comes down into Abington.
Right.
It's just a comfort level. I mean, if you feel comfortable with a path,
Well, the developer still owns that first lot, so if he
Then
was,
that solves my, that's.
They may
he
be able
was,
to put
if he was
something in
willing to meander it in and he was talking about alternative materials or something, we can go back to him, and if he's willing to either grant an easement through his property, which he currently owns, at some point he'll sell that model off, but if he grants an easement while he still owns that and then does some alternative materials and then the association does something else on their piece, you know, maybe we can
If
come up
Rudy
with
owns
a...
that corner property and Barclay, then I say that is the resolution right there. Then he can look for some form of internal walkway if it's that important for the new residents of Barclays Park to have access to Abington and White Spire and everything else, and
he was willing to do that this
Then-
morning, actually,
then there you go.
until he realized that it was in the right-of-way area. So, yeah, we can work with him on that. And we'll come back to you with some proposal.
that would be
Yeah.
my recommendation.
And
No, I'm fine with that.
the piece going from 250 in Abington does get put in.
That's a
Yes.
sidewalk.
Yeah, yes, and he agreed to that.
Just want to make sure
Yep.
that piece gets taken care of. We can take a look at that other piece. So we want to show this as a held item?
Yes.
Or just
next meeting.
have it for next meeting?
Yep.
So
Yep.
Lisa will have it up as item number 1 under Public Works for next week
We'll take care of it.
to finish that. Okay, we have no public safety, community services. We have nothing under information items. There being no further business to come before the town board, the July 13, 2016 work session will stand adjourned at 8:04 p.m. Thank you to those that participated. Thank you to PCTV.